Welcome to FoodTokTV. My name is Benjamin, aka Cooking with Father Preneur. You're tuning into Chopping Up with Father Saturday edition. Typically, I go live on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Central. Today, I'm filling in for Ryan and Taylor, who do the tailgate. Today, I am going to do a different type of live, though. Typically, you see me probably be able to make like 4 or 5 dishes, a cocktail, and within 1 hour. It's going to be a little different today. I'm actually going to kind of go off the same theme that Taylor and Ryan do, where they do kind of like a multiple episodes show because they cook dishes that take a long time to cook. And so today I am doing that. I am making a French beef stew called Beef Bourguignon. It is amazing. I don't know if anyone's ever had beef bourguignon before, but that's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'll be cooking that in a little bit. I'm gonna start getting ready. And so what I'm gonna start off with, just like always, if you see my lives, I always start off with bacon. Who in here likes bacon? If you like bacon, let me know. How are we doing, Bear, Lotus? If you're new to here, let me know. And let's see if we can get the taps to 1,000 real quick. And let's see what we can do. So, perfect. I'm going to start with some bacon. Who in here likes bacon? Let me know. I'm going to start chopping some bacon up. And I have a pot right here that I already started heating up in a pan. Perfect. And if you like bacon, let me know, people. So I am going to be doing a certain, this is not necessarily a lardon style cut because it's not going to be thin. I actually kind of want it a little thicker. So I'm going to kind of slice them this thick, okay? This is bacon that's sliced this thick. So I'm going to be doing this for a while. I'm going to be slicing a lot of bacon. This dish requires a lot of bacon. So drop it in the pot, drop it like it's hot. I have a big pot right here, so I'm making a lot of beef stew, okay? But otherwise, yeah, I love bacon. Lotus, Shay, how are you? Perfect. So, have any of you ever had beef bourguignon before? Let me know in the chat. Have you ever had beef bourguignon? Let me know. A lot of bacon getting into this pot. As you see, it's a really big pot. I don't know if you can see that. Have any of you ever had beef bourguignon before? You had my attention of a lot of bacon. Oh, awesome. I'm glad. So I will say this. What's the difference between bacon and pork belly? Okay, so here's the thing. Bacon is pork belly. Bacon is a process of taking pork belly and you're curing it and seasoning it and smoking it. So technically pork belly is the part of the animal. Bacon is what you have done to it, if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. If not, I'll try to give a little more descriptive detail. No problem. Perfect. Good. Well, thank you. Now, can you take pork belly and cook it different? Yes. Like my opinion, some of the people who have made the best pork belly, my opinion that like the Chinese community, they've mastered the pork belly. Like they make it so crispy and delicious. So like every time I go to a local grocery Asian store, I'm always buying some pork belly. JDP's in the house. What's going on, JDP? So if you notice the way I always cook, anytime I'm handling raw meat, I have one hand dirty, one hand clean. This allows me to do multiple things. So I can touch this with this glove. I can't touch this because I don't want to cross contaminate. So this allows me to just be very functional, okay, with my cooking. So that's why you always see me one hand clean, one hand dirty. Now I am going to take my glove off though because I'm already done with my bacon. So what I do, the way I take my glove off is I put it down right there, and then I'm going to start working on some other stuff. I'm starting to start cutting. So if you're just tuning in, I am making beef bourguignon, which is a fancy beef stew. In this pot is bacon, a lot of bacon. And then I'm gonna start working on chopping up my meat, okay? So we're gonna get that, and I need to process some of this meat. I have some of it already cut up for me, and some of it I need to cut myself. So I'm gonna get my another towel. Here we go. Give me 1 second. Forgot to get this towel. So if you're new to this chat, let me know if this is your first time seeing us on FoodTok TV. I'd appreciate knowing if this is your first time seeing us. Also, let me know in the chat, where are you all from? I would love to know where you're from. I'm from Arizona. And has anyone ever had beef bouillon before? Let me know. It's a fancy beef stew. Or who in here likes beef stew? Do any of you like beef stew? Yes or no? Who in here likes beef stew? Okay, grab my other glove. You got to make sure your hands are always dry when you put a glove on. First time here, awesome. First time Illinois, awesome. First time here, I'm in California. Love beef stew. I'm new here from Nashville, Tennessee. Awesome. Restaurant, awesome. So the beef stew I'm making is called Beef Bourguignon. Bourguignon. It's a French beef stew. It actually has wine in it. It's amazing. I think, my opinion, it's the best beef stew. I'm using chuck roast. I already have a lot of chuck roast chopped up, but I'm going to chop this one up. I'm going to cut off all the fat, and then I'm going to cube it, okay? So the goal is I don't need all this fat. So that's my goal. I'm just going to do this. Now, I also made my own beef stock the other day. So that's what I'm going to be using for this too. I have a trash bowl right here because I don't need the fat. Morning from Iowa, first time from Ohio, awesome. Love beef stew. Have any of you ever had beef bourguignon, which is a French beef stew? The green cutting board is supposed to be, not necessarily this, the green cutting board, okay, so I think you might have a misunderstanding of that, because here's the thing. When you buy a set of green cutting boards in your own house, you can determine how you want to use them. So yeah, so I purposely have 3 different cutting boards available for cutting. So yeah, but if that's the way you like to do it in your house, there's nothing wrong with that. I make sure to sanitize everything properly. Bacon drizzle for, you know what? Every recipe I've ever seen, it is. So every recipe I've ever seen, it is. So I look at a lot of recipes that I've done in the past. Also, when I came from the restaurant hospitality business. I was in it for over 20 years. And every chef that was culinary trained, usually when someone is trained in the culinary department, they actually train through the French cooking techniques. So I even have a Julia Child cookbook for beef bourguignon, and it shows to have bacon. So yeah, but anyways, but that's a good question. That's a good question though. I appreciate the questions. I always like questions, so don't feel bad asking questions. I always like questions. But I'm just right now trimming all my fat. So in this pot, I have a bunch of bacon. It's about 1.5 pounds of bacon that I'm cooking up. Then I'm gonna be taking off all the fat off this chuck roast. Chuck roast is the best meat to use for this because you need a meat that is a little fattier, but also that can handle braising for long periods of time. So chuck roast is one of those things. Like if you did like a round of the eye round of this, like the beef, it's too dry. There's not enough marbling in it. It can't handle the long hours of braising. So you need a meat that can handle this. Do you guys like chuck roast? Do you like chuck roast? Yes or no? I love Julia Child. Awesome. 8 the bacon shoes. So foodie 25 shoes. Do you recipe yours? What do you Karen? What's the comment? Karen, I want to make sure I understand the comment. You love chuck roast? Awesome. Karen, I want to understand the comment you made about the recipe. Yes, love it. Awesome. Love using chuck roast. Oh, awesome. Well, yeah, it's a great piece of meat. You know what? It's great for stewing. It's great for like shredded beef. You can do so much with it. Um, you could even slice it. I'm not saying this is a choice, but you could even slice it up and use it as a steak if you cut it thin enough. It still has enough marbling. Now, would it be just as good as a ribeye? Absolutely not. But you can. Where is the person can down? Okay, so here's the thing. After today's live, I will send a recipe to FoodTok TV and a picture, and they will upload it to the website. So by the end of today, this recipe will be available for you to watch, or the recipe and the video will be available for you. So yes, it will be available for you. So that's a great question. So probably by the end of today, it'll be up on the website, and it'll be on the website of FoodTok TV. And speaking of FoodTok TV, we are the longest running live daily cooking show on TikTok. We're doing this since 2021. My name is Benjamin. I'm also known as Cooking with Father Preneur. I go live frequently on my own account, but every Thursday I do a live on FoodTok TV. Today I'm stepping in for Taylor right there, Mustard Queen. So I'm doing a special live today. And I'm going to actually say what up homies right now in my own account So right there, if you want to follow me, please follow me. So that's my own account right there. You can follow me. I cook every day. I do a lot of different types of cooking. So a lot of cooking from scratch. I like to show people how to save money by doing things yourself in your own house and showing you that cooking is not, it doesn't need to be scary. It's about learning skills to help you. Okay, thank you for putting the comment. So just trimming this chuck roast. Where will you be if they shut down? So okay, I can't answer for any of that stuff, um, but I can tell you I am on a lot of other social media platforms. So if you go to my main account, you will see that there is a link to my other platforms. Okay, but that's a great question. But I'm not worried about that. Are you going to slow cook the chuck roast? Always have trouble with chuck roast and chuck steak. So I'm making a dish called beef bourguignon, which is it's a beef stew. So yes, it will get braised for a long period of time. So yes, I will be cooking it. Right now, I'm cooking all the fat out, or cooking all the fat out. I'm taking all the fat out of this chuck roast because I don't need all this fat. You see right here, it's already a lot of fat. I want to use the meat. I already have a bunch of it right here cubed, but yes, that's what I'm doing. I'm processing it where I can take the meat out. What is your name to follow here? I'll put it, Karen. I'm gonna put it right here. When you see the comment says "What up, homies?" That's me. What up, homies is me right there. So please feel free to follow me. And you're tuning in to FoodTok TV. Also, we have a Facebook account where it's called Whisk Takers. Taylor, if you're there, can you type in the Whisk Takers? And you can follow us on there. And you can also join the group. And it's just a way for us all to communicate with each other about what we're doing for food. So it's a good collective group of people with food who like to talk about food and stuff like that. Court voted to uphold TikTok ban, but yeah. So I don't. Yeah, I can't answer all that stuff, but But Dee, did I explain to you what I'm doing with the meat? Did I help explain to you what I'm doing with the meat, Dee? I want to make sure I did. Let me know if I was able to explain to you well. And let me know in the chat if this is your first time here. We would love to know that if you're first time here. How did you find us? Okay, yes, how did you find us? Were we on the FYP? If this is your first time here, how did you find our? Did someone share the live with you? First time? Oh, cool, Kimmy. Well, welcome. We go live daily on FoodTok TV, okay? So every day there's different content creator on FoodTok TV, and we're all different. We're literally all different. This is my first time on here. Sherry, awesome. Glad to hear that. Newbie, awesome. All cool. FYP just stumbled upon. Awesome. Scrolling. Well, we're glad. We're glad to have you here. Who in here has ever made beef bourguignon? I followed you on account. Okay, close. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Who in here has ever made beef bourguignon before? Let me know. So it's not just a beef stew. It's a different type of beef stew. It dates back hundreds of years. You love watching FoodTok TV. Awesome. Okay, good, perfect. Now there's different recipes, of course, but every recipe I ever do, I always put my own spin on it. I look at multiple recipes, and when you cook long enough, you get used to knowing, okay, what your style is, okay? Because I can't follow a recipe to the T, but you learn your style of what you want to do and what you want to implement and change. Okay, so now I'm going to cube up this chuck roast to about an inch and a half pieces. Just cube them up, just little pieces. Drop them in the bowl. And so here's the thing that's really important about meat. If you can cut it yourself, it will cost you less money. Now, why do I have some already cut too? I actually bought that on sale. Both of these meats I bought on sale. So I'm really big on always shopping. I'm a self-proclaimed baller on a budget. So I'm always shopping on deals. So I was able to buy all this meat on sale. I'm gonna say what the recipes I have. I just got here. What are you making? Okay, Sherry, I am making a beef stew called beef bourguignon. It's a fancy French beef stew. It's cooked with a lot of beef stock and wine. Earlier this week on my own live, I made my own beef stock, which that alone took about 10 to 12 hours to make. So I'll be using that too. And any remaining leftover beef stock I will be using to make a demi-glace also eventually, but that might not be for today's live. But okay, my chuck roast is diced. So what I'm gonna do now, take my glove off. And notice that when I cook, and anytime I'm handling raw meats, I always have one glove on that's for dirty stuff. Like when I say dirty, as in touching the meat, and one hand clean. This allows me to be multifunctional. Something you just learn in the restaurant business, where you can be multifunctional. This allows me because it helps me to just handle the meat, and with my other hand, I can do other stuff. So just know that's the reason why I do that. So here's what I'm gonna now put this in my dishwash or my sink because I don't need this anymore. And now we're gonna start working on our vegetables. I'm gonna move this meat over here. Bacon is still crisping up, but next is getting our carrots done. So I need to process my carrots and then cutting them. So what I'm gonna do is get another bowl, if I can find another bowl. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna cut off the ends of my carrots and its ends and tips. So if you notice me when I do my cooking, I save all of my parts of any of my vegetables. So I use it for stock. I'm really big on using up everything that I have. I don't like to throw anything away. So even the beef stock I made, I use my ends, my end pieces. I freeze all these pieces for future stocks and things like that. Can someone pin your name so we can follow? Yeah, so here, let me do that right now. I'll save here. What up, homies? So what the one that says "What up, homies"? That's me. If someone can pin that, please, if you're able to. If not, I will do it. Now with this type of dish, I'm going to be doing a certain style cut for the carrots. It's called a up. Let me see if I can pin myself. Here we go. Pin this comment. So that is my account right there. If you want to follow me, I would appreciate that. That's my own account. I'll be doing an oblong cut with these carrots. It gives it a different style and texture, and you'll see that style in a little bit. Okay. So here's the way you cut this type of carrot for this stew. It's more just a look. What you're gonna do is you can't probably see it that well on here, but I'm gonna cut, diagonal, roll, cut, roll. So what it does, it gives it a unique shape. Okay, it gives it a unique shape. It's just a classic way to cutting carrots, and you're just rolling it and slicing it diagonal. It's nothing too special. It adds for different texture. If you want to do it any other way, you're more than welcome to. You just need the carrots to be thick. That's all it is. You want the carrots to be thick. Okay. So as you see right here, they're all a special shape. They're oblong shape. Okay. So that's the style of this carrot I am doing for this cut, and I will be doing all these carrots in a few moments. My bacon's still going good. So this is one of those dishes, people. This is gonna take a while to cook today. This is not an easy 1 hour dish. When you see my lives, you typically see me cook about 5 different things in 1 hour. This is not that day. This is one of the day I am going to make one dish that literally is going to take hours. Now, I will have 2 different lives today. I'm doing the live right now for the prepping, but then what I'm doing also is we will take a break because the dish is going to have to stew for about 3 hours. Then we'll come back and I'll show you the finished product. So this live alone will be a lot longer than typical, okay? But I do that to make my vegetable. Yeah, perfect, good, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, perfect. Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Have any of you ever cut your carrots like this before? Steph, I am making beef bourguignon. It's a beef stew. It's a French beef stew. Have any of you ever cut your carrots like this before? Or do you just do the typical like you just do you just do the typical cut like this? Oh, you do? Okay, that's awesome. Miss B, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. So what's everyone got going on for this weekend? Anything special happening? Anyone watching sports? Any college football or what else is going on? Taylor, who are you rooting for this weekend? I know you're always watching football, Taylor. Lusty Queen, thank you. Honey, I was already for awesome. Glad to hear that. Bacon is getting crisp. Need to still cook a little more. Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Anyone else got anything else going on this weekend, people? Okay, still working on my carrots. So this is an amazing stew. It just it takes time, but it's so worth it. That's why I'm making such a big pot of it. If I'm gonna take the time to cook something for 4 hours, I am going to at least make a good portion of it. It is perfect for the winters. Keeps you warm. It's like a hug. Going some swamp buggy racing in Naples. Oh, that's awesome. I never done that before. Sounds fun. Oh, cool. Thank you, Taylor. I appreciate that. Tap the screen. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. In a perfect world, you can have someone cut all this for you, but it takes some time, unfortunately. Thank you, the real MC. How are you? Okay, all my carrots are chopped. Perfect. Now, so what I'm doing is while all this is cooking, while my bacon's cooking, I'm taking advantage of this time to cut my vegetables. Now I need to cut mushrooms. So the mushrooms, first of all, who in here likes mushrooms? Do you like mushrooms? Let me know, chat. Chris 10, how are you? Who in here likes mushrooms? Give me a thumbs up if you like mushrooms or a thumbs down. Okay, Steph says yes. You want to cut them quartered. So what I mean by this is you literally take a mushroom and you cut it into 4 quarters. Okay, there's 4 different pieces. Okay, that's the best way to cut these mushrooms for this. Awesome. Oh, okay, I love mushrooms. Awesome. For some reason for some reason the thumb ups are getting filtered, but hey, it's okay. At least I'm able to see it. Do you? Yes, Riley. I did it earlier. So what I did, Riley, what I did before I went live today, I actually did a get ready with me live. Thank you, Chris. Where instead of putting makeup on, I did all my prepping in advance so that I could do this cooking show for you today. So if you happen to see my live this morning when I got ready, my carrots I washed in advance before I cut them. My potatoes were washed. My mushrooms I did all of that, getting all my meat ready to be cut. So stuff like that, yeah. So yes, I washed the mushrooms. You should, in my opinion, you should. They're known to have a lot of dirt on them, but some people like to eat dirt. I mean, I can't judge you. It's whatever you like. But that's all I can tell you. Trini's in the building. So Trini is my Thursday buddy on FoodTok TV. We run Thursdays. I am the Thursday day show at 12 p.m. typically Central Time. Trini goes live at 7 p.m. Central. Today I am filling in for Taylor and Ryan, and I'm having fun doing it today. So I'm excited because the fact that I'm actually gonna go over an hour today, because I'm gonna be cooking a lot of food today. But it's one dish, and some of you are gonna freak out because you see me always cooking in my FoodTok TV show. I cook like 4 or 5 dishes and make a cocktail all within 1 hour. I'm just making one meal, but it's gonna take 4 hours. It's all it's gonna do. It's gonna take a long time to make this dish. Let's get to 10K. Yeah, awesome. I see that we're at 6.8. I would appreciate it. Let's see if we can get to 10K in the next 10 minutes. What do you guys say? Think it's possible? Do you have to use mushrooms? Sherry asked if you have to use mushrooms. Here's what I would tell you. Here's what's amazing about cooking. What I think is amazing about cooking, you can do whatever you will like. So the answer is the answer is no. You don't like mushrooms? Don't use it. It adds a flavor to the dish, but you don't have to use it. So I don't think it will make or break the dish if you don't use it. So I think it'll still come out amazing. Okay, so that's a great question, and feel free to ask any other questions. But Riley, I appreciate you asking a question. If anyone else has any other questions, food related, I'll do the best I can to answer. Life related, I always have an answer. I just don't know if it's the answer you want. That's all I can tell you, okay? If that's fair enough. I love pineapple juice, but I don't like pineapples. Keep it going, chat. Oh, cool. Callie, thank you. That's interesting. You love pineapple juice, but you don't love pineapples. Okay. That's interesting. Never heard of that. Maria's in the building. Maria, how you recovering? You doing well? Tree, you hear the song today? I just came on. What are you making? I am making beef bourguignon, which is French beef stew. Right now, in this big pot, I am searing and cooking down bacon. I'm cooking a lot of bacon. It's about 1.5 pounds of bacon. And I am chopping up. I chopped up my carrots. I'm preparing my mushrooms for this dish. And then I'll be cutting up some onions eventually, and I'm gonna start crying. Every time I cut onions, I cry. The only way I've never cried without cutting an onion is wearing goggles. Like literally putting goggles on, protect my eyes. It's the only way. My husband hates tomatoes, but his favorite. Oh, wow, interesting. Knocking the boot. Trini, you hear this? You hear the next song, Trini? Those 4 onions. You know what? Literally. Okay, so here. If you don't want to cry if you don't want to ever cry cutting onions, there's a few things you can do. 1, get someone else to do it. 2, don't cut them. 3, wear goggles, like literally where it protects your eyes. Those are the only 3 ways I've been able to find a way to not cry. I don't need these mushrooms, so what I'm gonna do is put these away in my container. Give me 1 second. And I am going to put these away. We'll put a paper towel in here because this paper towel helps absorb the moisture because mushrooms do tend to have a lot of water in them. So I'm just going to do this to help absorb moisture. And get my lid real quick. So I'm sorry about this. I'm always cleaning as I go, and I try to get ready. I try to be very resourceful and productive. So I don't want to do this later. I'm ready to do this now. So there's my mushrooms ready to go in my fridge. Okay. Let me check out my bacon. Woo. Bacon splattered a little bit. That's okay. Sometimes when you're in the kitchen, unfortunately, you get a little bit of oil burns. It's just part of the job. I'll put the chopped mushrooms that have been quartered in here. First 2 choices. Okay, the Carmen says the first 2 choices. That's smart. Okay, can you buy pre-cut onions? So here's the thing. You bring up a good point, Mrs. B. Can you buy pre-cut onions? Yes and no. It depends on what you want to do. So typically, what happens when things are pre-cut, sometimes they put a certain type of solution on it to keep it fresh longer. So the taste could be different than if you had a fresh onion. So there's that one issue. Other issue is if you're a baller in a budget like me, where you're trying to watch every penny, you're going to spend a lot of money having someone cut your onions. So that's what I do a lot in my lives. I teach people skills. I don't necessarily teach recipes. I teach skills where you can learn how to cook and do things and also save yourself a lot of money by doing it yourself. So I'm actually in the process of eventually rolling out a training program, teaching people how to cook. Not saying people don't know how to cook, but to help people with cooking. And so that anytime you get a recipe, you feel 100% confident. Because there's been times where people might know how to cook a little bit, but they get a recipe, and they're very intimidated. If you learn the skills to cook, you won't be intimidated anymore. So if you're trying to save money, and money is a concern, buying onions cut will be very expensive, okay? Like this one big onion cost me 75 cents. To have this onion chop, this amount of onion, I would probably spend about $3. So it just depends on your opinion. Okay, so I have to teach my 50-year-old to do this. I edit your page. Okay, perfect. I can't agree. I don't like pre-cut onions. Yeah, if you can avoid it, please do. So I'm gonna do this. If you guys are just tuning in right now, it says "What up, homies?" That is me. Make sure you follow me on my own account. And I'm still cooking my bacon down. The point of this bacon is I don't want necessarily crisp. Here, let me show you an example. Let me show you what it looks like right now. Okay. Woo. Okay. It's still a little soggy. I want it semi crisp, but also not fully like crisp. So it's just trying to find the right consistency. It's gonna take some time. Okay. So what I'm gonna do with these onions, I'm gonna start crying a little bit. So it's not because I have probably the next song's gonna be a really nice slow jam song. Some of you might be thinking I'm crying because of the slow jams, but it's just the onions. Do you have to use onions? You don't have to, but onions do add a certain flavor, especially when you saute them. But if you have I'm gonna say an onion allergy, then don't use it. Don't use it. That's what I would say. So, so the answer is yes and no at the same time. What I would recommend is do try to make it fit your style, what you like. So every recipe I ever see, I don't follow it to the T. There's sometimes I don't like certain things, so I take it out. Now, with these onions, I am not doing a fine dice. I'm actually doing a rough chop where I want them in big pieces. The reason why I want them in big pieces, it's good. This dish is going to stew for hours. So if I was to dice it very fine, it won't be able to. You won't. The onions will be kind of almost like disappear in the dish. You don't want the onions to disappear in the dish. I love how he always answers questions too. I'm really enjoying. Oh, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, Jeanette. How you doing? So always make sure to follow him on his page. Thank you. If someone doesn't like onions, could you onion? Oh, actually, onion powder is great. Onion powder is great too. So onion powder and fresh onions, they add a different component to every dish. So yes. And the tears are starting to come. I love you all. Woo! They're coming. The tears are happening, people. All these pieces, save it. Use it for your future stocks. Okay? Don't ever get rid of it. Okay. Let me find a bowl to put this in. Give me 1 second. Or something, or a plate. Okay. Let me check out my bacon. Okay. I'm turning on the heat a little bit in bacon. And if someone could set a 2-minute timer for me, in 2 minutes, I need to take the bacon out. If someone could set a 2-minute timer for me, I'd appreciate it. Are you on TV? If so, what channel? This is the channel that I'm on. But my own account is FoodTokTV. Oh, sorry, my own account is here. Hold on. I'm on FoodTokTV right now. I host their Thursday show, but I'm filling in today. But the one that says "What up, homies?" That's my own account. So sorry right now. I have the tears going right now. Okay, so there's a lot of tears happening right now. So yeah, I know. Where are my goggles? I don't have. I mean, it's because it's no longer summer. Because it's no longer summer. There's somewhere in the storage area where I need to take a moment because the tears are really happening today. If there's a question I did not answer, feel free to ask it again. Woo! Tears are happening today, people. If there's a question I did not answer, please know I try to see every comment possible, but sometimes I don't get a chance to see every comment. So feel free to ask the question one more time. And now what I need to do, I need to take this bacon off. So I'm gonna grab a plate with a paper towel, and I need to take this bacon off now. And this is gonna take a few moments. And I'm gonna actually do it over this pan. Because if any bacon fat falls, it's gonna fall onto this pan right here. And what I'm gonna do next is in this pot with this bacon fat, I'm gonna sear my beef in there. So give me 1 second. Almost done, people. Because there's so much bacon, you gotta try to get all the bacon out. Now this bacon will get added back in eventually, but we're in the early stages of this dish. If you're tuning in right now, you're tuning into FoodTok TV. We are the longest running daily live cooking show on TikTok. We've been going strong since 2001. Typically, you see Ryan and Taylor today, but I'm stepping in today for them, helping them out. And I am chopping with Father. I usually go live on Thursdays. You also see Trini here. She's my Thursday buddy. On Thursday nights, she goes live. So typically, I go live on Thursday at 12 p.m. Central. Trini goes live on 7 p.m. Central on Thursdays. And on tomorrow evening, Kaz, our CEO of FoodTok TV, will be live. Taylor, if you're here, or Trini, if you're here, can you say what time he'll be live? I can't remember the time. I think it's like 6 p.m. Central, but I can't remember. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I have a lot of bacon fat in here. I don't need all this bacon fat. So what I'm going to do, I have a bowl right here that I'm going to use. I'm going to pour some of the bacon fat into this pan. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to pour some of the bacon fat into this bowl. Okay. And I'll reserve this bacon fat for later. Next, what I'm going to do is go right here. I'm still going to work on doing some other stuff, so give me a moment. Here's my beef that I need to use. Let me go grab an, perfect. I have a glove right here. So seasoning is really important. What I've noticed that happens sometimes when people cook, they don't season their meat before they cook. They season it after. If you want your, 2 minutes are up. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Kaz is on at 8 p.m. Central, awesome. The Drama Queen, good morning, Rise and Shine. Melissa does Monday right, that's correct. Hey Melissa, how are you doing? Okay, thank you all, I appreciate the time. So I'm seasoning the meat before I start cooking. That will help season the meat inside of it also. If you season the meat after it's cooked, the seasoning only goes on the outside of the meat. So season before always. And because I'm going to be handling raw meat, like I always do, one hand dirty, one hand clean. It's not that I'm trying to be Michael Jackson or anything like that. It's just doing this. So you'll see, this allows me to season and still keep a clean hand. Now, normally I use a pepper mill, but because I am touching raw meat, I don't want to get my pepper mill dirty, so I have crushed pepper here. So that's what I do. Now, what I'm going to do is put this away, and the salt I use is kosher salt. Okay, now I'm going to start searing the meat into this big pot, which has the bacon fat in there, okay? And you should hear a sizzle. Let's see. I'm going to test it out. We should be able to hear a sizzle. There's a little sizzle happening. Now, the goal is I have to do this in batches. So I can't fill the pot up with all the meat. The reason why, I want the meat to brown evenly. You want something called GBD, golden brown delicious. So what's going to happen is I'm going to leave the meat alone for a while, for about 5 minutes. I'm going to let it get a nice sear on there. And then every time after 5 minutes, I will move it because I want that nice sear on there. That you create a nice caramelization on the meat. So it's called GBD. It's a cooking term, golden brown delicious, okay? Now, back to our onions. Let me cut some more onions. Give me 1 second. So sorry I missed the chat for a little bit. How's everyone doing? Thank you for helping me get out my comfort zone. Show you. Oh, no problem. I appreciate it. Drama show, how we doing? So everyone, I see there's 165 people in here, and we're at 12.5K taps. Let's see if we get to 20 in the next 10 minutes. What do you guys say? You think it's possible? Okay, now I'm going to be cutting another onion. So the tears are going to happen again, okay? It's just part of the job, unfortunately. So hopefully everyone's had. What is everyone up to today on this lovely Saturday? Anyone up to anything special today? I'm doing a rough chop because I don't need them necessarily very small. I need the. You want to be able to see the onion in the dish. Babs, how you doing? So what's going on? What are you all up to today? And if you haven't already, tell me where you're from. I would appreciate it. Who in here likes onions too? Watching you all. Okay, perfect. Who in here likes onions? I know some people asked if you cannot add onions. Was it because you don't like the taste of fresh onions? What was the reason? So I could just know. I'm always interested to know if people have allergic if they're allergic to it or they're just not liking the taste. You love it? Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I do love onions. I try to put onions in everything too. I think it's a good base for cooking. Okay. Awesome. So what I'm gonna start doing, I'm gonna start sauteing my onions in this big pan that I have bacon fat in. Here we go. Awesome. Get that party going. I'm gonna take care of these onions right here. I don't need the rest of this onion. So I'm gonna show you how I do this. I grab my plastic wrap, do this, put it in my fridge. Then next is cutting up my garlic. And if you know me, I'm notoriously known for not using jarred garlic. But this is an example of exactly what I do. I have a bag full of frozen bits of carrots, celery, onions, and all that. This is what I use for stocks in the future. The last time I bought a carton of stock or broth was probably like 10 years ago. And if you can make it yourself, it'll taste so much better. And I use it with stuff that people throw away typically. Okay. And put that away. Meat is browning very nice. You put my pepper away. Okay, got my carrots cut up. Got my mushrooms cut up. I'll cut my potatoes up in a little bit. I need to cut some garlic. What's the question? I love onions. I'm Italian. Onions, garlic are part of my DNA. How long can you keep green scallions for? So, I've been known to keep them for like 2 weeks. I think it depends on how you keep them. I like to keep them in a tight bag. I also wrap them in my plastic wrap, and they last a while for me. But also with green onions, you could take the stems, put them in a little water, and they regrow. So like right now, if you look at this, I have green onions regrowing. I also do this with celery too. So same thing happens with celery. So if you see right there, there's a stem of celery growing. I don't know if you can see because of the light. Anything that has a root, put it in a little water, change it out daily, it'll regrow. Yeah, okay. Is it pyramid? I agree with you on that. Yes, I am making beef bourguignon, which is a French beef stew. That is exactly what I'm making. Okay, I'm gonna start doing some garlic. I already have some garlic that already been off. Now, when it comes to fresh garlic, please use it. If you use jarred garlic, which is garlic, you can just know that it adds a bitterness to it. Just know that it adds a bitterness to it. Yeah, you can regrow garlic or goodness. Keep them in water and plant. You can also just put them in a pot outside too. Put them in a pot outside, and it'll grow. Yeah, there we go. No garlic. So some of you might be scared to do what I'm doing. I take my knife, I put it on top of the garlic, and I smash it. If you're scared to do that, because some people might say, I don't want to cut myself, grab something that has a heavy base. A wine bottle, a can, a bowl. You can do the same thing by that, just smashing it. Same concept, okay? Same concept. You don't necessarily need to use a knife if you're scared. Not necessarily scared in a bad way, but if you're worried that you might cut yourself. You don't have to use a knife. Especially if you're going to use a knife, make sure it's a wide enough knife to use though too. You don't want to use like a thin knife. Like here, I'm going to show you an example. You don't want to use a knife like this. This knife would be too thin to do that. I mean, you could do it, but you might cut yourself with it. That's all. Just want to be safe. I have a great day. Arrived at my son. Oh, cool, perfect. Let me know how it goes, Miguel. I appreciate it. But if anyone has any questions right now, feel free to ask. I'm just peeling garlic. I'll be chopping garlic in a little bit. And got a long day of cooking today, okay? Okay. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to add salt to my onions. By adding salt, it actually helps take out the moisture. So water is sometimes an enemy of food. And you need to get a nice sear on food. You need to take the water out. Salt helps take the water out, okay? Not sure, prom. I'm old school. What's about old school? Chris says, what's up going on, Chris? The meat, it's chuck steak, or chuck, yes, chuck roast. It's chuck. That is correct. It helps, when it comes to a chuck roast, you need a meat that can handle a long stewing process. Chuck roast is one of those meats, because there's a lot of marbling in it. Yes, like you don't want to use a thin piece of meat with not a lot of fat. You need something that can stew for a long period of time. Yes, it does. Help sweat everything. That's correct. So you try to take the moisture out. Even with me searing the beef right now, with not messing with it, that is part of the goal too, where you, in order to get a nice crust, which is called GBD, golden brown delicious, you got to leave the meat alone. And I'm going to check the meat right now. So what I do, I grab my favorite fork. I'm going to reach in and touch one of the beefs. Okay, look at this. Instead of messing up the whole pan, I'm going to go into the middle and look at the beef. That it still needs more time. So that tells me the middle of the pan tells me what all the other beef looks like. So there's no reason for me to mess up the whole dish by touching all of the meat. So that tells me it needs more time. So if someone's able to set a timer for me for another like 4 minutes, I would appreciate it. If someone can help set a timer for 4 minutes, I would definitely appreciate it. Oh, okay, you're old school. No, you know, there's no school like the old school, I'll tell you that. But if someone's able to help set a 4-minute timer, I'd appreciate it. If not, I can set one up myself. Let me know if you're able to. That's right. Okay, thank you, Trini. Appreciate that. Now, some of you might say you don't like garlic because it makes your hands smell. I mean, I just rub it on my neck. You know, it's like a cologne. It doesn't work, but it's still it's a way to reuse it. What you can do, they sell these stainless steel soap bars. They actually help take the garlic scent off your fingers. Okay. Okay. But you know, some people love it. Okay, good. So I'm not that weird. Okay, good. Well, I still might be weird, but you know what I mean. Okay. Doing some more garlic here. Because this is such a big pot, there's a lot of garlic. But not to the point where it's overpowering. It just, when it comes to the amount of portions, yeah, I need a lot. We're weird. Okay, cool. That's perfect. I'm glad to know that we're all weird. I'm making homemade beef stew with baby carrots, potatoes, chopped, snap peas. Awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I need a water break. Okay, does this happen to anyone? Well, first I need a water break, but I have coffee. I always forget that I have coffee, and it gets cold. So that I have to use Chef Mike, which is called Chef Microwave. I have to use Chef Microwave to reheat it. Does that happen to anyone? I have to reheat my coffee like 5 different times. Colby. What's amazing? Green beans, better than frozen. Okay, cool. Yes. All the time. Yeah, you know, it's like I have literally heated up the same cup of coffee 3 times in the last 2 hours. And I keep forgetting it. I keep forgetting it's there. It's like I wish I don't know. I have problems, people. And my coffee cup says, I don't know if you can see it because of the lights. It says dragon, and you can see what it says, like dragon butt. Oh, the hands up. Okay, awesome. Okay, with this garlic, because it's going to be stewed, I'm just going to do I'm going to dice it. You do want it minced. I don't want chunks of garlic in there, because in order for garlic to be stewed really well, it needs to be sautéed really well. So I will be stewing this eventually, but we should see how that goes. So hey, also, I need help. I need a timer every 2 minutes. Say coffee time, coffee time. That's the only way I'm gonna think. That's the only way I'm gonna remember how to drink some coffee. It's the only way. What is better, fresh green beans or frozen green beans? Okay, I guess it depends. So I would go based on what's better, what costs less. So, I would really go based on what costs less. I think they both will do the same thing, but also it depends on when are you going to add the green beans to the dish. So if your plan is to, like, let's say your stew's going to take 3 hours. If your plan is to add the green beans right before you start cooking, like in the beginning process, no matter if it's frozen or fresh, it's going to be mush by the end of the 3 hours. It's going to be really soft. And I say mush, I don't mean in a bad way. If you want texture, if you still want to have that nice like green bean crispness, you're going to probably want to add it to the end. And yeah, and I would use fresh then. Do you find the thinner that you chop, the more flavor comes out? Time on the beef. Okay, time on the beef. Let's check out the one beef. Hold on. Okay, perfect. Look at this now. There's more color now. I don't know if you can see it on your side. There's more color, which tells me all of the other beef is good to be mixed now. So I'm going to mix it. Okay, perfect. So do I feel it's fine? Okay, do you find thinner you chop, the more flavor? So it depends. So the reason why you cut onions different is based on the preference of taste and what the goal is. So for diced, I want this dish requires diced garlic because it needs to be sautéed very well, and to saute it very well where it almost becomes sweet, it needs to be really small. If you were doing like slices of garlic, where it's like really thin slices, you're wanting garlic to be the star of the dish, so that's why you have it out. Same as your coffee. Okay, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that. So it depends on the way I look at it is the garlic the star of the dish or is it part of the dish? So when it comes to the dish I'm making right now, it's only part of the dish, which is why I am going to only have it be sauteed and it's gonna be diced really fine. Like if I'm making a nice pasta dish and I really want to have a lot of garlic flavor, I'm gonna slice it really thin, but if you're gonna see the sliced garlic in there, if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense to you. Does that make sense? Let me know. Okay. Now, show you what's next. I'm still crying from the onions. Still crying from the onions, people. Okay. Onions are getting sauteed nicely. They're getting done. Let me grab a ramekin to put my garlic in. This is about getting all your mise en place in order so that when you're cooking, everything's ready to go. Then after this, I should be done for a little bit on cutting. Just for a little bit. Put this garlic away. Okay, let's see what the question. Any questions? Yeah, okay, perfect. Makes sense. Yes, tap all. Where are we at? We are at 14.8 taps. Let's get to 20. Let's go. Let's get to 20. So, garlic shavings, garlic skins. Do not discard it. Do not discard it, people. Grab your favorite freezer bag with all your other frozen pieces. Add it to there. Okay? Use it for future stocks and broths. Coffee break. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. I'm almost done, though. Now I'm actually finishing it. Does anyone do this? Does anyone save all of their ends and trimmings? Let me know, chat. Did any of you ever do this? So you see right here, the onions are getting nice and sauteed. Now some of you might be saying that's really big chunks. It is. Actually, this one I need to cut a little more. That one didn't cut. That one still had the root attached to it. When this gets sauteed and braised for hours and hours and hours, it's going to have a nice texture. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Appreciate the live. So, clapping, tapping is clapping. That's right. Okay. Let me work on. So, anytime I am cooking, I try to keep my station clean as possible. So, I'm going to take a few moments to work on cleaning up. Just know that this is part of my process. I like to always have a clean kitchen. Something I learned in the restaurant business. If you're not familiar with my background, I was in the hospitality industry, food and beverage, for over 20 years. The last 15 years of that industry, I was a director of food and beverage, which meant I was the boss of everyone, which meant I was the boss of chefs and everyone else. So I get asked a lot, am I a chef? No, never wanted to be one. But being a director of food and beverage, if you're gonna be a boss of a chef, if you ever worked with a chef before, they can be very great to work with. They can also be very challenging. So if you're gonna tell a chef that they're wrong, let's put this away. You better know your stuff. So it challenges you to be very, very well versed in everything. So I'm very well versed in cooking, alcohol, serving, everything. You kind of got to be a jack of all trades. So that's where my background comes from. So just so you're aware, if anyone's questioning what my background is. Okay, my first batch of beef, I'm going to take out. It is nice and GBD, golden brown and delicious on all the sides. And then we're going to work on the next batch. Okay? Like I said, unfortunately, this is one of those dishes where it's not a quick dish. Some of you will be saying, wow, and because it's already been 55 minutes I've been live. Typically, if you see my normal lives on FoodTokTV, I'm known to be able to make 6 dishes or 5 dishes or 4 dishes and cocktails and all that within 1 hour. This is that one dish that, oh no, it's a whole day process. So I'm gonna drop some more beef in. Okay. And the reason, let's see what you guys know. Why am I doing it in batches? Help me understand. I can, if I wanted to, I could add all the meat in at the exact same time. But why am I doing it in batches? Let me know, chat. Why am I doing it in batches? Can someone tell me why I'm doing it in batches? Have you worked at any? So I never worked at. So I worked at a lot of high-end resorts and country clubs. So that's kind of where my background came from. I boil mine for 12 hours and let it cook down, and I'm not perfect. So it was a lot of country clubs and resorts. You get a better browning, yes. So if I was to add all the meat in at the exact same time, what would happen? It would steam. It would not get the nice browning, which is called GBD, golden brown delicious. So by adding it all in, it would just steam and your meat would be gray instead of browning. Okay, there's a big difference. Yes, you can't sear. It gets gummy. Those are all right. You'll be doing beef stock again. Yes. Will I be doing beef stock again? Probably. I try to make it every now and then. So, okay, Bernadette, how are you? Welcome. I am actually making beef bourguignon, which is a beef stew. It's a French beef stew. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's a long process. So I'm in the process of stewing my meat, sauteing my onions. Now, my onions are about halfway cooked. So it's time to add my mushrooms now. Okay? So I'm going to add my mushrooms. Now, mushrooms have a lot of moisture in them. So here's what I'm going to do. To help take that moisture out, I am going to add salt. Salt helps take the moisture out of stuff, okay? Especially when you're sauteing. So just add a little bit of salt. Let it do its thing naturally, giving it time. So let's see, is there any other questions I can help answer? Hold on, what's the question? What was the we doing beef stock? So it cooks even. Do you cook the beef? Do you cook the beef out? What do you mean by do you cook the beef out? With that you don't flour. Okay, so You can flour your meat. You can. But I'm going to show you a technique that is done in the restaurant business. So like that's the one I don't know if it's an advantage or not, but I also show you tips and tricks that what happens behind the scenes in the restaurant business. So such as like getting my mise en place in order, which is getting everything prepped in advance, having everything situated for you. You will see a technique I will do to make it thicker, and you can flour it in advance. Yes, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm gonna show you something else you can do that's done in the restaurant business, if that makes sense. Kaz is in the building. How you doing, Kaz? Kaz is our CEO of FoodTok TV. He will actually be live tomorrow evening. Do you take the cooked beef out when? Oh yes, I do. So yes. So the first batch is right here, and I have the next batch in here. Yes. So I'm doing it in batches. In batches. So yes. Do you add water to the veggies left over? Do you add to make this? Oh, so yeah. So an example, be kind. What I would do, I keep that in my freezer, right? So whenever I have leftover, let's say chicken bones, beef stock, whenever I have leftover something, I add it all to the pot, put my vegetables in there, bring it up to boil, let it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. But it depends on what it is. Like my beef stock, the beef stock took 10 to 12 hours to make. So it depends on what you're trying to make. But saving your vegetable ends will help you. Let's put it this way, you can always DM me. I'll be more than happy to help you answer questions too, okay? I'm also working on a training program that will eventually be able to help teach you all this stuff too. So hopefully, guys, Kaz is in the building. Tap for a what? Tap for thank you. Cornstarch and cold water. Okay, the term cornstarch and cold water, Evie, I hope I'm saying that name correctly. That is called a cornstarch slurry. Yes, you can do that. You can do a cornstarch slurry. That is one technique. What's really cool about cooking, there's so many different techniques. But what I'm gonna do is not a cornstarch slurry. It's a different thing. So you'll see that in a little bit. But it has to be once I get ready to start putting everything into the pot. So right now I'm still sauteing my onions, got my mushrooms going. If you're just tuning in right now, I am making beef bourguignon, which is a fancy way to say French beef stew. It is delicious. My opinion, it's my opinion alone. I think it is the best beef stew out there. Um, it dates back hundreds of years. It's a very old school traditional way to make it. Julia Child loved it. Anthony Bourdain loved it. I love it. It actually, the secret ingredient in it is wine. So it's so some people might say, "Oh, that sounds weird," because you think you're gonna taste wine. So when it comes to the culinary scene, wine is a food. When you cook with wine, it changes things. So it's a completely type of different experience, especially when you cook wine for a long period of time. It changes food. Coffee. See, let me see. This is the last. This is the last. Oh, yes, the red wine I'm using. Okay, people. We have finished the goal one. Goal one is this coffee that I've had for 3 hours. I finished it. So I appreciate all your help on helping me finish my coffee. I literally couldn't have done it without you. Do you use a floral wine? So no. What I would recommend, you want to always use a dry wine. I'm using a Pinot Noir, but at the end of the day, here's the thing. What you don't want to use for this dish is a sweet wine. You do not want to use a sweet wine. But the best way I can describe it, if you won't drink it, like okay, well, if you like wine, because some people don't like wine. If you like wine and you won't drink it by itself, don't cook with it. So that's the best advice I can give you. Okay. Okay. Needs more time. So if that makes sense, can you give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you about if you won't drink it, don't cook with it? Does that make sense to all of you? Is that a yes or a no? Let me know. I use red wine to make my spaghetti. Oh, yeah, so you make like a bolognese. And it brings it. Oh, yes, it does. So you only cook with it what you like. That's right. So if you're making like a bolognese sauce, which is amazing. I like to make like a red sauce like that too. Yeah, wine is amazing. I mean, I even did on Halloween. I did my live cooking show, and I made coco van, which is a stewed chicken dish with red wine too, and that was pretty cool. And what was really cool about that is you had to let the chicken marinate in red wine. So I played off the Halloween theme. I called it a sinister stew because you let the chicken marinate in red wine the night before. The chicken is like purple, but so that gives it like a different weird color. Okay, what's the comments? Let's see. 25K, let's tap. We're almost there, people. What are you using to brown your meat? I'm actually using bacon fat. So what I did first is I cooked bacon in this big pot. Then I'm using bacon fat. I reserved some of the bacon fat in this bowl because I didn't need all the bacon fat. But then I added bacon fat to this pan to cook my onions and mushrooms down. So yes, so bacon fat is I don't drink it, but cook my bolognese with it. I use the same kind of wine. Do you use? Yeah, I would use the same wine. It's JDP. Thank you, I appreciate that. It's pretty much whatever you're gonna use to drink. Just don't have it be a sweet wine. That's all. It's because it's gonna come out different. That's all. Thank you, JDP. Do you cook a lot? Yes and no. I mean, so a lot of my so here's the thing about French food. I have a passion for it because I've worked with so many amazing chefs, and when anytime someone says they're culinary trained, typically what they're trying to say is they learned how to cook the French way because what the French did, they put it onto paper how to be taught how to cook properly. They created the sauces, the mother sauces, like they just put it on the paper. So what a lot of people have done is they use it as a stepping stone and they go out and do their own cuisine. So every restaurant I've ever worked with, I worked with some amazing chefs, chefs that had been inducted into the Hall of Fame for culinary. They a lot of cuisine was cooked that was very French inspired. So yeah, so I cook a lot of French food, but then I also cook Italian food. It just kind of feels like whatever I want to cook too. So um, I mean, the goal is too when I'm on FoodTok TV, we're all different content creators. So, there's people who do grilling, there's people who do smoking, there's people who do substituting sugars and dairy, there's people who do like cooking from pantry. I kind of show the behind the scenes of restaurant food too. So that's kind of where my style is a little bit. So, so things like that. So when you work at a lot of country clubs and resorts, a lot of it is French cuisine, or at least French roots, at least roots, because the chefs typically were culinary trained in the French style. If that makes sense. Okay, my mushrooms are getting cooked down. I still need to add a little more salt because I want to take out as much moisture as I can. Remember, water is the enemy right now for this dish. I need to take out the moisture as much as I can. We all bring something different. Like literally, we're all completely different. That's what's really cool. You can go to any one of our lives, and we all learn from each other. And it's like, oh wow, like okay, like for instance, example, I like to chop my garlic fresh every single moment that I can. Kunchi, he does some amazing barbecue. What he likes to do is he likes to take one day where he just processes a bunch of garlic in his food processor, like he has it chopped up, and he puts it in molds of like ice molds, and he freezes them in advance. So he pops them out whenever he wants, and he has garlic all the time. So it's like, um, everyone just has their own style, and I'm like, oh wow, I never thought about doing it that way, but I actually enjoy my way. But it's really cool to see how everyone does things different. We still get the same result. It's just we just take different roads to get there. If that makes sense. Now, one thing I am gonna start doing too is I am gonna start working on adding my carrots to this dish very soon. Okay, I'm gonna take off this beef now. It is now brown, and I'm gonna add the last bit of beef to this pot, and then we will almost be ready to combine everything. Now, in the restaurant business, I would have already been stewing all of this because what happens in the restaurant business, you have these huge cooking devices that allow you to do all this very efficient. Um, so, so it's a little different. right now. So I'm doing like what you would do in your home, but I'm also making a large batch. My recipe will be for a smaller batch. I'm purposely making a lot. The reason I'm making a lot is because it's like if I'm gonna take this amount of time to cook this amount of food, I'm gonna at least make a big batch. That's all I know. That's the way I look at it. Give me 1 second while I get some dishes in my dishwasher. Okay, cool. And here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, what are there any questions? I've never done that with beef. I'm going to do that from now on. Well, what you never done what? What you never done it in batches? You never done batches? Is that what you're talking about? Can you spread it evenly? Well, it's to prevent it from steaming. Yeah, so if that's what you're referring to, it prevents it from steaming. So everyone, if you're just tuning in right now, my name is Benjamin. I am also known as Cooking with Father Preneur. I just said what up, homies, and that is my account. Make sure you follow me. I am live today. Typically, I'm live on Thursdays on FoodTok TV, but today I'm stepping in for Taylor and Ryan. I am making beef bourguignon. You are watching FoodTok TV. We're the longest running daily live cooking show. We have every day there is a cooking show. Typically, Monday through Friday, there's 2 shows every day. On Saturday, there's 2 shows with the same host. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, too. So I'm doing this right now. Then once I actually get everything started to go in the pot, we'll take like a 2 to 3 hour break. Because all it's going to be happening at 2 to 3 hours is going to be stewing. And so there's nothing too exciting to see at that point. But then I'll come back live and I'll show you the finished product. But we still probably got about another 20, 30 minutes until this live ends. But we're still working on this. So now that I have seen more and more moisture out of this dish, I'm going to add my carrots. Okay, carrots are getting added now. And I did cut this carrot enough. Awesome. Perfect. So, let me see. I've never done that with beef. Mrs. B, when you said you never done that with the beef, what was it you're referring to? Becky's in the house. What's up, Becky? Mrs. B, what were you referring to? Thank you, Becky. I appreciate that. Anyone's first time seeing us on FoodTok TV, let us know. Give us a thumbs up if this is your first time seeing us on FoodTok TV. We'd appreciate knowing. Okay, let's check on this beef. Almost done. We're getting closer to the end. We're getting closer to the end. Hi, glad to see you. Glad to see you too. I'm gonna take advantage of this time. Tracy, okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. So what's going to be really cool is, so every Thursday, what I did in November, so here's what I did in November. Since my show was on Thursdays, what I did in November, every Thursday, I showed the audience things that they could do for Thanksgiving. So what I'm also doing every Thursday in December, I'm showing people what they could consider doing for Christmas if they celebrate Christmas. So like this past Thursday, I did a Christmas breakfast theme. I made a Christmas French toast, which had a blueberry, a macerated, make sure I say that word correctly, macerated blueberries. And I had an espresso whipped cream with it. I made some breakfast potatoes. I made some like candied bacon. I also made a winter wonderland cocktail that had it was a grasshopper, but I just gave it a nice festive name, and that was a really cool thing. So like every Thursday until Christmas, I will show you ideas of things that you guys can do for Christmas. Just giving you other ideas. But everyone, what do you got for? If anyone celebrates Christmas here, what kind of things do you guys typically eat on Christmas? So Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. What is it you guys are looking for this Christmas season? Like when it comes to food, what are you guys excited for? Let me know, chat. Lasagna. Ooh, so some people make lasagna for Christmas. I never thought about that. Thursdays, but in California. So what time do you? Okay, so I go live at 12 p.m. Central. So that is 10 a.m. in California time. But that's on FoodTok TV. On my own account, which is what I just say right now, what up, homies? I go live frequently. So what's be the best thing to do is click on my account, click on my name, click on the notification bells to be notified when I go live. But I would also do that with FoodTok TV. Click up here, click on the notification bell so you're notified every time we go live. So, what up, lasagna? What else did I see? I'll be probably cooking brisket. But so here's the thing. Uh, in my household, we're a little different. So typically, so my background is Mexican background. Typically, what is consumed and eat on the holidays, typically it's like tamales, menudo, and things like that. We don't necessarily do that in our house. So what we do, we give it a different spin. On Christmas Eve, we go Italian style, where in some of the Italian traditions, they do the seven fishes, which you do seven different types of seafood, or seven. You're just using seven pieces of seafood. Typically, we do the seven fishes on Christmas Eve, and on Christmas Day, I do brisket. But when I say brisket, people were probably thinking barbecue. I'm thinking I do it more of the Jewish style. I work with some amazing Jewish chefs, and they taught me how to do amazing brisket. In the Jewish culture, briskets used a lot for celebrations, and it's like the perfect sear braising brisket. I actually prefer that type of brisket over smoked brisket. Some people might be, ooh, that's some people might say that's impossible. If you've had braised brisket, it is amazing. So yeah, we do tamales, we do antipasta lasagna, arroz con gandules, and roasted pork. So see, JDP has a cool thing. I actually know JDP. Him and I were good friends. He's actually taught me how to make pasta live. He's half Italian, half Puerto Rican, so he brings both of the cultures together. Got it. I know I'm not. No, I'm not Italian at all. I'm not Italian at all. I just do that. So like, I guess you could say it's weird. On Christmas Eve, I do Italian style, and on Christmas Day, I do Jewish style. I don't know. It's it's just what we do in our household. It's what we do. It doesn't make sense, but it does. It tastes good. Let's put it that way. It's more about the taste. That's what's more about. That's what it's about, people. Okay, still need this beef to stew for a little bit. Not food, but I look forward to coquito. Oh yeah, making coquito. I'll be making coquito soon. Has anyone ever had coquito? Who in here's ever had coquito? Or do you know what coquito is? Oh, you have Italian Irish? Interesting. Challah meat on Christmas Day. Yeah, it's just more of a. I don't go about it any way of the religion side of it. It's just more of I mean, when you work with Jewish chefs and you taste their brisket, you're like, man, like nothing beats it. So it's like, I mean, I cook brisket also more than just Christmas Day. Whenever brisket's on sale, I try to cook it. So it's just more of a thing. Um, okay, it's delicious. Just bought a brisket and I have no idea how to cook it. When are you? I mean, it'd be for Christmas Day, so I don't have I don't have a brisket yet to cook. Spanish for a little Coke. No, so coquito. Okay, coquito is a Puerto Rican beverage that's typically drank during the holidays of Christmas. And the easiest way to describe it is a term, but I don't like the term, but just my opinion. They call it Puerto Rican eggnog. Now, but it is completely different. It is heavy on coconut. So you have to really like coconut. And it is an amazing beverage. Like if you like coconut flavor, first of all, if you were to taste coquito compared to eggnog, in my opinion, does not taste as great. Coquito is pretty much pure flavor. Um, it's a delicious beverage. It's typically made every Christmas, so I make it during the Christmas season. And you mix it with rum. Now you can make a Disneyland version, not alcohol. Then you can make the adult version with alcohol, and it's delicious. So yeah, coquito is an amazing. It's cold. You have to like coconut. You have to like coconut. So if you don't like it, trust me, if you don't like coconut, it's not your dish. Okay? So now let me get this mixed. But does anyone here make coquito JDP? Do you make coquito JDP? If JDP is still here, what do you? So, Kitch, what am I? I'm making beef bourguignon, which is a beef French stew right now. I'm in the process of searing the meat. I'm almost done with my last batch of searing. Um, Now what I am gonna do, my mushrooms, carrots, and onions, they're sauteing still. I'm gonna add my garlic in now towards the end. Can anyone tell me why I'm adding my garlic at the end? Can someone tell me why I added the garlic at the end instead of early on? Why did I add the garlic at the end? Let me know. My mom does. Okay, so yes. So the yeah. So now the recipe I have a really simple recipe to make it. Is it traditional? I can't say if it's traditional or not. I mean, I don't know. I think also the word traditional is very loosely termed because what is traditional is only in someone's house. Like here's an example. Um, let's say arroz con pollo. You can go to 5 different houses and they will make it 5 different ways. So is it traditional? It's traditional for that household. So it's hard to say what's truly traditional, I think, in my opinion. But when I look at recipes, I look at like 3 or 4 recipes and I take the best of each one and I fit it to fit my style. So I found a really simple coquito recipe that I love. Um, my family loves it. Every time I make it, my wife's coworkers are always asking for me to send a bunch of batches to them. So I'll probably be making it eventually on FoodTok TV, probably maybe the 19th, which is a Thursday. That'll probably be the last episode before that's the last episode before Christmas. So I'll probably make my version of Coquito that day. Um, so we'll see. I guess let me ask you a question. Would you like to see that? Would you like to see? Would you like to see Coquito made? Morning was busy. To not let it burn because it will become. Yes, that is correct. That is the reason why I added the garlic later. That is completely correct. Garlic would burn, and I need it sautéed, so that is completely right. Okay, my meat is almost brown, so it's time to start chopping my potatoes now. So Bav says yes. Separates. Okay. Okay. Now so these potatoes. I'm gonna cut them into kind of like quarters. I want kind of big chunks. I am not gonna put them in the stew this very moment. These are Yukon Golds. They will cook really quick in a stew. So what I'm gonna do is chop them up and put them in some cold water. Can anyone explain to me why am I putting in cold water? Why am I putting it into cold water? Can anyone explain why am I putting it into cold water? Gotta be nice. What happened? I don't understand. Why am I put? Now I understand why Becky's saying that you guys try to be nice. Okay, I get it. Why am I putting these potatoes into cold water to start so they don't? Okay, perfect. So they don't brown. Absolutely. That's all correct. Now, sometimes you see a potato, it has a little mark on it. Just cut it off. It doesn't mean the whole potato's bad. It just means that one piece is not at its best. Now, what you can do, I've made this dish before, and I bought those like little baby potatoes, like little ones, and you can just put those in there whole, and that's delicious. Or what you can do, which is also a cool presentation, don't put potatoes in the dish. Make mashed potatoes and then have that be your base. So you get like a plate or a bowl with mashed potatoes. Then when the stew's made, you put the stew on top of the mashed potatoes. That's also another option too. Just another option. Just an idea. So yeah, just take the starch out, but also too, I don't want it to brown. I don't want it to brown at all. So that's all correct. Does it stop? So by putting potatoes into water, it does take out some of the starch. But my purpose mainly is to have them prepared in advance so that when I'm ready to cook them, they're prepared. But the water prevents it from browning. So like right here, this potato is beat up a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is just cut off that part. Okay, perfect. Nothing's wrong with that potato. Just that one little part was bad. So there's no reason to get rid of the whole potato. Okay. Then, okay, we're getting close to the end now. So here's what I'm gonna do. Let me check this. Okay, I'm gonna add the beef back in now. Okay, here's where we're gonna start working now, people. Add the bacon back in. Woo, hello. Okay. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me get rid of this plate. Here's the moment we've been waiting for. I'm gonna let it stew for a little bit more. Could someone set a 3-minute timer for me? Literally a 3-minute timer. I just want us to cook for a little bit together. Someone set a 3-minute timer for me. Please let me know. Okay. Wow, it looks beautiful down there. Thank you. Okay, so you don't add salt when you add other ingredients to the onions. So I already added salt when I added the onions and the mushrooms. So there was salt already added in there. The salt was to help take out moisture. The beef has already been salted and peppered in advance. The bacon already has saltiness in it. So I want to also be careful on not adding too much salt. So there is salt in a base of flavor. And when the stew cooks more, it will reduce, which means the salt content will get higher. So you gotta be very careful on making sure when you're reducing stuff, you gotta be careful on the amount of salt you add. Okay, perfect, good, thank you. Wow, it looks beautiful. So hopefully I answered the question. Beth, how you doing? How you doing, Beth? So if you're tuning in right now, some of you might be saying, how is it possible Benjamin, aka Cooking with Preneur, is doing a live that went over an hour and a half? He typically does not do that. He does a live, he cooks like 6 dishes and makes a cocktail all in 1 hour. How is it he's only making 1 dish? That's it, and he's not even done. Stepping away for live for 1 minute. Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. No problem. But stepped away for live for 1 minute, and then everybody's comments are filled. Oh really? I don't know. I didn't even notice that, Taylor. See, Taylor, you can't leave us alone. We cause trouble. Beth says she's doing great. Beth, where are you from? If you don't mind me asking. So yeah, today it's a different type of day. Me and Taylor were talking yesterday. She needed me to help fill in for her and Ryan. And she's like, you know what? You can do what we do, where you can do like 2 different parts of your live. You can go longer. And I told her I was already planning to make beef bourguignon. I said, this is probably the best dish to make that it requires a long time. So this is it. And so yeah, this is amazing beef stew. And chop up my potatoes. Now, I don't know if 3 minutes is up. Okay, is that correct? 3 minutes is up? Okay. So here's the most important part of this dish. Okay, most important part. I need you to take notes, everyone. It's weird being on the side Saturday, but my water is shut off still. Wow. Okay. Okay, it's 3 minutes, right? Okay, so it's not 3 minutes yet? Okay. It is, yes or no? Taking notes. Okay, I'm gonna let you know right now. Here's the most important part. I'm almost there. I see you finish playing this 1 potato. Taking notes. Okay, perfect. We're almost there. So let me get rid of this little part right here. And we're still working. Okay. So has it been? Okay, time. Okay, perfect. So here's the thing. Most important part is actually, hold on. Let me get this. Let me get this. Okay, you ready? The recipe will always say reduce the wine by half. Okay? Thank you for the gift. Happy Maria. Thank you for the gift. So here's the most part. When it says reduce the wine by half, this is for the dish. This I'm going to reduce by half. This way, okay? That's the most important part to know that, okay? More goes in here than goes in here. That's the most important part for the note taking. I am just kidding. I'm being very sarcastic. It's the opposite, okay? Pour yourself a glass, okay? The rest goes in here. Literally, okay? Like no joke, okay? And then we're gonna let that do its thing, okay? Hey Liliana, how you doing? So we're gonna let this do its thing. And what's gonna happen eventually, so right now, you're gonna smell wine cooking. The beginning process of wine cooking, it's a smell. You smell wine. Some people don't like the smell of wine. But what happens like in 2 hours from now, you're like, wow, wine smells really good. So beef stew or beef bourguignon is a stew that is made with wine, and it's amazing. And trust me, it's not. It's when you taste it, it's not actually a lot. I use majority of the whole bottle, yeah, except for this part. Now, what the one thing you got to understand is this: if you've never had this dish before, you the wine is a food. Wine, the taste changes when you cook with wine for long periods of time. This stew is going to be cooking for literally about 3 hours to 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long it takes for the beef to be very, very, very tender. Does the quality of wine matter? Here's the best way to describe it. If you won't drink it, don't use it. As simple as that. So, what what you would drink? Yes, use what you would drink. Yes. Now, yeah. Now, could you use a half a bottle? Yes, but you also just got to understand this dish. The secret ingredient is the wine, and it is a dish that dates back hundreds and hundreds of years. The French have mastered this beef stew, so it is part of it now. I think once you were to taste, well, if you were to taste this dish, and you were like, you wouldn't even know wine's in it, but whatever flavor you get out of this stew, that it's the wine that makes it. So it's really cool. I would not use a port wine. So port wine is different. Port wine is a fortified wine. That means it is sweet and it also has brandy. So fortified wine I would not use. Now, here's the one thing I'm going to do. Okay, I use a smaller glass now. I'm putting my parsley in here. These are the leaves pretty much. The stems, the stems I am going to use for my dish. Okay? The stems, when you use herbs, stems have a lot of flavor. And then also too, if I dice this really fine, in 3 hours from now, this will all be cooked out. So understanding that. I don't cook with pork. Perfect. Now you can cook with pork. Like if you want to make a nice sauce, pork is great for making sauce. Pinot Noir. So everybody, here's the thing too. Every wine is different. So what I would recommend is go to do like a Google a GTS, get a port or Merlot or a Cab. Now you can also really go French and buy a Bordeaux wine. I mean, so you could also just go French and buy a Bordeaux wine. So you just want a nice red wine that's not sweet, pretty much. Just don't get sweet wine, okay? That's the biggest thing. Just don't get sweet wine. That's the best thing I can tell you, okay? So this parsley stems will be for the base of the soup. This will be for the garnishing, okay? Using parsley in two different ways. Cooking with love, one-on-one, follow the live prayer. Thank you, I appreciate that all. When do you know to use white wine or red wine? So this dish requires red. I would use a white wine to make a beurre blanc sauce, which is a wine butter sauce. That's what I would use that's what I use white wine for. Or if I was making like a shrimp scampi or something like that. What's that? Marie, when you say what's that? What are you talking about? You need some what? What do you need some, Isabel? What do you need some of? I use Pinot Noir or Chardonnay. Okay, yeah. I mean, I just love wine, so white sauce, a Pinot Noir, or I mean a Beurre Blanc. Okay, this is reducing. Perfect. You can smell the wine reducing, which is good. So here's what I'm gonna do. My parsley, add it to the pot. Okay. Then clean up. Always clean as you go. Okay. What's that? I use some soup. Oh, you can use some. Okay. So next is thyme. Okay. Fresh thyme. If you can, fresh thyme is amazing if you're able to use it. Now, what I do to show you how I take my leaves off the thyme, here's what I'm gonna do. If you're not aware, some of you might be aware how to do this already. All you do is you grab the stem, you grab your fingers, you pinch it, and you pull down, and the leaves fall off. Okay? So that's all you're gonna do right now. Skip. Now, if you have kids or something, you can have them do this in advance. Now, save your stems too. I even save the stems for stocks and broths. Like when I make my own beef stock, it requires a lot of time. So save the stems too. Do not throw the stems away, please. I have dry thyme. So here's what I would say. If you only have dry thyme, just use dry thyme. There will be a little bit difference in taste. Doesn't mean it'll be bad. Just a little different. Do you add all the beef back in, or just I added all the beef and the bacon back in? All of it's in there with the wine, and the wine is reducing right now. That's a great question. And if you're unaware, the recipe will probably be up by the end of tonight, if not first thing in the morning. So once I'm done with this live and I'm able to take a picture of the dish, I will send it to FoodTokTV so they can upload it onto their website. The website is FoodTokTV.com, and you will be able to find the recipe on there. You'll be able to find all the recipes from every content creator that we have on FoodTokTV. So yeah, it's a really cool website. Did you save your potatoes to the stock? No, the potatoes are right here. The potatoes are right here in this water right now. The reason why they're in the water is because of the fact that these are Yukon Gold potatoes. They will cook pretty quick in a liquid because they're softer. So I'm gonna add them like halfway through the cooking process. So I still have my vegetables separate right here. I'm gonna start adding the vegetables in a little bit. I'm just getting my thyme set out. Okay, that should be enough. Actually, I'm gonna just do a little bit more thyme. I need a little more thyme, not like thyme as in T-I-M-E, thyme as in the herb. Okay. Let me chop this up. So if there are any other questions, please feel free to ask. If I did not answer your question and you asked it earlier, just know it's probably because I missed it. Because when you're cooking, you're trying to do everything at once. You're trying to talk, cook, read. So feel free to ask it again. It's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just the fact that, we try to catch everything we can. So feel free to ask again. And it's wine break. So here's what I need now. I need a timer for every 3 minutes to have a sip of wine, please. It is good. It is a good quality. It was a gift given to me by my niece and her boyfriend. Okay. Now I have some thyme on my hands. I don't want to throw it into the sink. I'm gonna put it right here in the pot. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start adding this in slowly. Okay. Here we go. The smell is amazing right now. What's happening? Because that wine is cooking. It is amazing right now what's happening in this pot. Okay. Magic is happening. By just allowing stuff to cook and letting it naturally just do its own thing, not fussing with it. Okay. Let me put this away. Okay. Put that away. Let me stir. Okay. Let me add some of my thyme. Actually, chop it up just a tiny bit more. So I want to make sure it's very fine. Okay. Add it in. Okay. Next, put the knife right there. Most important part right now is cleaning up now. We're on cleanup duty, okay? Hold on. We're on cleanup duty right now, okay? So let me clean up real quick. And then I'm gonna show you the last step I need to do. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm scooping the parts into my hand so I can throw them into. I just throw them into my sink. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now is the beef stock that I made the other day on my live. This took over 12 hours to make. Okay. So when you make beef stock from scratch, it's amazing. It's very gelatinous. This tells you if you made it correctly. So I don't know if you can see, it's very gelatinous. It's not like pure water. So what I'm gonna do is, so here, let me see if I can show you this. This is real. I love the way this looks. So this is beef. This is beef stock. If you buy this in a carton, it will not be like this. This is beef stock. See how gelatinous it is? That is beef stock. What you buy in a carton is not that. CD era soul. Okay, so just series 2, 90s R&B jams. Okay. That tells you that you made your beef stock correctly. Now, what I am going to do, because there's still some gelatin in there, I'll put a little water in there. Time for wine. Thank you. Have any of you ever made your own beef stock? Add a little water to get the rest of it out. Okay, the question was, have I ever added marrow? Okay, so what I did for this beef stock, I went to my local Asian grocery store. I got beef neck bones, and I used that because the beef neck bones have a great amount of fat, meat, bones, and there's marrow in there. Okay. Now, let me see if I need to add more beef stock. Give me 1 second. I think I'm going to add one more jar. Okay. I'm going to try to lift this up right now to show you. It's not even done right now. But there's sometimes when you're cooking, you know, like, amazingness is going to happen. I don't know if that makes sense. But here, I'm going to show you this. I don't know if you can see that right now. There's amazingness that's going to happen in this pot over time. Could you guys see that at all or no? Could you see that at all? Yes or no? Okay, there was a comment that was filtered. Lord, I love to eat bones and marrow. Yeah, bone marrow is delicious. I'm gonna add one more jar. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next, since I'm in the process of stewing things, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. So we're getting close to ending this live. Maybe in 10 minutes or less, I will end this live. And then 2 to 3 hours from now, I'll go back live again. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do next too. Because I'm taking advantage of stewing, I have this leftover beef stock. What I'm gonna do is put it into another pot. Now, this is something completely separate. It's not part of this dish. I'm gonna be making something called a demi-glace. Has anyone ever heard of a demi-glace? Taking leftover beef stock, and I'm gonna reduce it and reduce it and reduce it and reduce it and reduce it to make a really nice demi-glace. Is anyone familiar with demi-glace? Oh, you love a hat? Thank you. Anyone familiar with the demi-glace? Let me know. No, you said it before. I want to know what did I say before, Mrs. B? Okay, I'm gonna let this reduce. This is gonna literally reduce for hours on this pot until it becomes a very, very rich sauce. Okay, demi-glace is a classic, also French sauce, taking beef stock and letting it reduce and reduce and reduce and reduce for a long period of time. Like sometimes demi-glace can take 3 days to reduce. So this is literally going to reduce for hours on a very, 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 very low heat. Um, and it's going to keep reducing and reducing, and it becomes this amazing sauce. And you add butter to it, and it's just delicious to be served with everything. But so here's what's going to happen, people. Towards the end of my live right now, right? I'm gonna show you what I do. Okay, I'm gonna turn up the heat. I want to get a nice little simmer boil going. I take my bag out with my frozen parts. My stems are going in here for future stocks and broths. Okay. Why get rid of the stems? Okay. Yeah, demi-glace. Yes. Drink again. Okay, perfect. Thank you. It's fine. Don't worry. I don't mind. I'm just joking, Babs and Becky. I need a reminder for my coffee. Now, okay. Once it starts getting to a boil, I'm gonna show you the. Okay, there was a part where someone wanted to know how I'm gonna thicken this up. If you recall, yeah, demi-glace. There it is. That's the way you spell it. Okay. Someone had a question earlier. They asked why I did not flour the beef in advance. You could do it that way. You could do it. How to make a demi-glace again. So what you're going to do is you're going to take pretty much beef stock and you're going to reduce it and reduce it and reduce it. Sometimes it can take literally like 2 days to reduce. You can reduce on a very, very, very low heat, but you have to have your own beef stock. Like you have to make it has to be gelatinous. You can't take beef stock from a carton because it's not gelatinous. And you let it reduce over time, over time, over time, over time, and it literally could take 2 days. Like this could be reducing till tomorrow, just slowly reducing. It's on my lowest heat possible right now. Okay, so I see that we're at 28.3 taps. Let's see if we can get to 30. What do you guys say? Okay, once this comes to a boil, I'm going to show you how I thicken this up. If you were here earlier, someone asked me, how am I going to thicken up the stew? I'm going to show you a trick that is done in the restaurant business. And it's just a way to make things happen. It's very also old school French way of cooking and doing things. So you'll see that in a little bit. Once I get that to a boil, and all you're gonna need, some of you who see me do this already, you need a strainer and a whisk and some flour. And so we'll work on that in a little bit, okay? So now, when I end my live, just know this. You're not gonna see this part. In 1 hour from now, I will add my potatoes in. If I add my potatoes in now, because these are Yukon potatoes, they will be like completely like mush by the time the meal's ready. Okay? So I still want them to have a nice textured bite. These will break down really quick, okay? So I will add it later. The color in this stew is already changing. Let me show you the color. It's already changing colors. I don't know if you can see that. It's amazing. Like the smell, I would charge you for the smell. That's how good the smell is right now. Did you make it with the bones in it or after? So I made the stock with the bones. So what I did is I take my bones with the meat, I cover them with tomato paste, and I roast them for about an hour to hour and a half until they get nice and caramelized. Then I put them into a pot with all my vegetables. Let it bring it up to a simmer boil. Then reduce it as low as possible. You want these little bubbles to happen, little bubbles. And you let the stock cook for about 10 to 12 hours. It's best to do it overnight. Hope that answers your question. So hopefully I've been able to answer all your questions. If I haven't, please let me know. Feel free to ask again. And this is amazing. Okay, I want to move this right here. So any other questions? Thank you, Babs, for those gifts. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. So what's up? Any other questions you guys have right now? Uh, Esther, I'm already married. What's your okay? Oh yeah, perfect. Here, let me do it. Here, what up, homies? That's me right there. Feel free to follow me. The captain says, "What up, homies? What up, homies? What up, homies?" That's me. I go live. One more drink for the road. I go live very frequently. I go live 5 to 6 days a week. I go live 3 to 4 times a day sometimes. I even went live before this live. What I did before this live, I did a get ready with me live, where instead of doing like makeup and all that, I did a like prep with me. Because I wanted to show everyone. In order to do this one live, I had to prep an hour before the live just to do the live. That makes sense. It's so much work that has to get done. It's okay. Yeah, so I'm in the process of working on. Oh, thank you. I'm in the process of working on a training program where I will be able to help people learn how to cook. I'm not saying people don't know how to cook, but for anyone who wants to be a confident cook, to the point where no matter what recipe you get, you're confident because you know how to cook the basic stuff. So it's about building off your basic skills. I like to teach knowledge, and so that's what I'm good at. So that's a program I'm looking to roll out maybe in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. I'm still working on it. I'm waiting for this to come to a simmer boil. Then I will show you my trick to thicken it up. And this is what's done in a lot of high-end restaurants too. It's a very old school method. Okay. But anyways, so this stew is going to have to braise for about 2 hours to 3 hours. So what's going to be very important is make sure you have the notification bells for FoodTok TV. Click up here. Then when you click on the FoodTok TV, on the bottom screen or somewhere on your phone should show a bell. Click on the bell, hit all. What that's going to do, it's going to notify you that when FoodTok TV comes live. So especially later today when I go live to show you the finished product, you're going to want to see that, okay? What do you use to prep a turkey? Do you use oil or butter? So actually, I brine my turkey. I know some people have a preference. I prefer to brine it. I do a wet salt brine, but I add so many things into my brine. There's citrus. There's herbs. Like I literally go to my pantry and I just ransack it and add stuff in there. Garlic. So I do a lot of stuff. Now, I've done turkey not brining, and what I do is I use a compound butter. I'll make a compound butter and I'll smother the turkey with a compound butter. So that's gonna be the most important thing. Will you be on? No. So I will. Good question, Maria. I will come back live on FoodTok TV later today. I will come back live on FoodTok TV to show you the finished product. So that's a great question. It's almost at a point. Okay, so here's what it is. It's almost at that point where it's gonna start simmering. Okay. Compound butter. So it's a simple. I don't have any more left over. What you do, you take butter that has been brought to room temperature, where it's very pliable, and you can add all the herbs you want in there. So I had rosemary, thyme, sage, minced garlic. You add it to that butter, you mix it up, and then it's a flavored butter, and the butter absorbs all of that. If that makes any sense? Okay, so it's time for flour time. Okay, so here's what I do, people. Okay. You grab a fine mesh strainer, put it into the liquid, whisk. You add flour. Okay. Here's the thing, and you stir it in. So what you got to understand that in this pot, there is a lot of fat in there because of the bacon fat, the beef fat, and what this does, it creates its own roux in there, and it will thicken it over time. Now, someone might say, well, you know what? You're adding flour to this. Isn't that bad? This is going to stew for literally 2 to 3 hours. It will only take 20 to 30 minutes to cook the flour out. But by doing this will thicken it up. And the reason you use the fine mesh strainer, some of the flour does not break down. So that's why I am using the fine strainer to catch the flour that is not breaking down. So literally, this is an old school technique that's used in a lot of high-end restaurants, picking up stuff. Okay, do it in a couple batches. So my goal is to do about a half a cup. I'm just eyeballing a half a cup. I did it in 2 small batches. Okay, and like in 2 hours from now, if I see it needs to be a little more thicker, I'll just add a little bit more, like another, like a quarter of a cup, or 1/4. And that's that. So what I do now, okay, it is dripping. So I'm gonna do this, put it there, and that's that. So what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be ending my live right now, okay? And in 1 hour from now, I'm gonna set a timer. In 1 hour, the only thing that's gonna happen in 1 hour, I'm gonna add these. Sorry about that. Hold on. So hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you all hear me? Sorry, something happened. Can you all hear me? Yes, no, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, so in 1 hour, what's gonna happen? I will add the potatoes to the stew, and then I will let it stew for another 2 hours roughly. But I will probably be going live 2 to 3 hours from right now. So I'm gonna be ending the live right now. Everything has been done. It's now just letting time to do its thing, okay? And then so make sure you have the notifications bells checked so that you can see the finished product, okay? I appreciate you all hanging out with me this long. I know today was a very long day. It's a 2 hour live. Wow, I've never done a 2 hour live, I think. Is it a 2 hour live? I think I've been on for 2 hours. So so what it is, I have it at a low heat because you want it to simmer. So what it is, I brought it to boil. I brought it to like a simmer boil. So my stovetop is like, it goes from 0 to 10. It was at an 8 or 9. That got up to a semi boil. Then I brought it down to like a 2, and I'm gonna let it stew for 2 to 3 hours. And I'm gonna put the lid on a little bit too, because I want the meat to get tender. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna bring it down to a low heat. Just let it stew over a long time. Okay. But otherwise, that's all I have for everyone. Yes, it does. Sean, you are completely right. It's gonna take some time. Take some time. So otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, I'm gonna head out. I'll see you back here in about 2 to 3 hours from now. Okay? I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Oh, sip time. Thank you. Cheers, my friends. Take care, everyone. Bye. If I can turn this off.